They may not have signs at the city limits anymore, but trust me, some places in America still speak loud and clear. Black people, don't let the sun set on you here. Welcome to Top 10 Towns in the United States of America, where black people cannot stay beyond sunset. A countdown that's not just chilling but disturbingly relevant in 2025. Sure, sundown towns in the USA are technically a thing of the past, but tell that to the people getting side-eyed at the gas station after 6 p.m. or randomly, followed by local police 5 minutes after arriving. Some of these notable towns with sundown histories never quite let go of the playbook. They just tucked it in the drawer and dimmed the lights. This isn't about urban legends, it's about real places where black people still flee before dark, not by law, but by gut instinct and generations of trauma passed down like family recipes. So the question isn't just, do sundown towns still exist today? It's, why do they still feel like they do? Stick around as we unpack the unspoken rules, the creepy reputations, and the towns that time forgot. But black folks didn't. Hit the like button, subscribe to Virtual Travel by Brian, and stay alert. This one hits close to home. Number 10. Tempe, Arizona. Tempe might be home to Arizona State University and a thriving student population, but for most of the 20th century, this sunny college town had a dark shadow. Black folks were allowed to work there, but not live there. That's right. You could clock in, clean up, and cash out, but you better be gone by sunset. Now let's be honest, this ain't 1950 anymore, but Tempe's demographics tell a story most folks avoid eye contact with. As of the 2020 U.S. Census, Tempe's black population sits at just 6%, while white residents make up over 68%. For a city surrounded by major metros and universities, you'd expect more diversity, right? Here's where it gets trickier. Tempe didn't see its first black homeowners until 1965, and even that wasn't exactly welcomed with open arms. Stories of intimidation, real estate redlining, and outright hostility were part of the package. Makes you wonder, how far have we really come, and how much of the old rulebook still whispers behind HOA meetings and realty contracts. The city has tried to clean up its image with diversity initiatives and inclusive branding, but there's a lingering discomfort you can't fix with murals and hashtags. The feeling of being watched, questioned, or out of place after dark, that's not just paranoia. That's inherited wisdom from generations who learned to read the signs before they were painted over. So, here's a question for you. Can a place ever really escape its roots, or do they just get buried beneath Starbucks and high-rise condos? It's easy to dismiss Tempe as just another college town, but that's what makes it more insidious, because when a city markets itself as forward-thinking and inclusive, yet its history reads like a sundown town training manual, it begs for deeper scrutiny. And no, Tempe doesn't ring a siren when the sun goes down, but talk to older black residents in the Phoenix Valley, and they'll tell you which streets you don't linger on after dark, which neighborhoods you don't drive through slowly, and which looks still carry that you don't belong here energy. Number 9. Darien, Connecticut. There's wealthy, and then there's Connecticut wealthy. Welcome to Darien, where the lawns are pristine, the homes are worth millions, and the idea of diversity has been quietly edited out of the brochure. Don't let the coastal views and Ivy League energy fool you. Darien has a past soaked in exclusion and whispers that still echo through its gated neighborhoods. Here's a town that perfected the art of keeping out undesirables without ever having to put it in writing. Back in the 1950s, Darien was so committed to staying white and affluent, it became the unfortunate muse of the book Gentleman's Agreement, which exposed the unspoken rule. Real estate agents just didn't sell homes to black or Jewish families. No signs, no violence, just a firm grip on the social order behind closed doors and well-manicured hedges. Fast forward to today, and the numbers haven't budged much. As of the 2020 census, Darien's black population hovers at a paltry 0.3%. That's not a typo. In a town of over 21,000 people, that's fewer than 70 black residents. Let that sink in while you sip your overpriced latte. Now the town will proudly tell you it's not racist, it's just exclusive. But exclusive from what exactly? Access, culture, reality? The same subtle redlining that once kept neighborhoods white is now disguised as zoning laws and community standards. Translation: if you don't look or earn like them, you're not exactly getting a warm welcome, especially once the sun sets. Darien is a town where the police are quick to ask, "Can I help you?" with a tone that makes it clear they really mean, "Why are you here?" Where you can still feel eyes tracking you in stores, restaurants, and yes, on those storybook sidewalks. So ask yourself, is a town truly post-racial? If its demographics haven't changed since your grandparents were kids? Even if the days of formal sundown warnings are gone, the culture that sustained them lives on. Through property taxes that gatekeep, social networks that exclude, and an unshakable air of suspicion toward anyone who looks like they didn't grow up playing lacrosse at prep school. Number 8. Jay, Florida. Jay, Florida isn't the kind of place that shows up in travel brochures, and it's probably better that way. Tucked away in Santa Rosa County, this tiny town of under 600 people made headlines for all the wrong reasons nearly a century ago. And the aftershocks of that headline still rumble through its dusty streets. Back in the 1920s, Jay erupted in what's now known as the Jay Race Riot. Black families were violently driven out, homes were burned, and the town made it crystal clear, we are not open for everyone. And here's the plot twist, those families never came back. Generational trauma tends to do that. Fast forward to 2020 and the US Census shows Jay is still 98.8% white. Black folks, a statistical blip. That's not just coincidence, that's legacy. And no, we're not talking about some rural backwater with no opportunities. Jay has roads, schools, churches, just not a welcome mat for diversity. Florida loves to sell itself as a multicultural wonderland. Beaches, Cubanos, and cruise ships. But just beyond the palm trees and tourist traps, there are towns like Jay that time forgot. Or maybe, time remembered exactly the way it was. The town's eerie homogeneity isn't just an accident of geography, it's the product of an expulsion so thorough that it practically rewrote the town's DNA. And let's not gloss over the fact that Jay didn't even make a public acknowledgement of its racial history until recently, and even that felt more like a footnote than an apology. When cities apologize, they build museums or issue reparations. Jay, meanwhile, just kind of kept walking. So, what happens when you've got a town that's frozen in racial stasis? You end up with a place where being black still feels like trespassing, even if you've got business there, even if you're just passing through, even if you're just buying gas. Question: would you feel safe stopping in a town where your presence could be met with suspicion, silence, or worse? That gut feeling you get, that's not irrational, that's inherited wisdom. Number 7. Lacrosse, Wisconsin. Lacrosse sounds like the kind of place where you'd sip craft beer by the Mississippi, listen to folk music, and chat with someone about cheese curds and the Packers. But beneath the Midwest charm lies a quiet history that makes some folks skip the stop entirely. You see, Lacrosse wasn't just accidentally white, it was strategically white. For decades, black people were effectively kept out. Whether it was through local hiring discrimination, housing covenants, or social pressure dressed up in politeness, the message was crystal clear: this town wasn't for you after dark, or at all. And the numbers don't lie. As of the 2020 census, Lacrosse's black population is just 2.2%, in a city of over 50,000. That's less than the number of people who will argue about which brewery has the best IPA on any given Tuesday. Now here's where it gets real interesting. In 2016, Lacrosse's own city council publicly acknowledged it had been a sundown town. That's right, not a rumor, not a conspiracy. An official admission that yes, this place had policies, written and unwritten, that made black people feel unwelcome and unsafe. So what did the city do after its mea culpa? It set up a few diversity committees, held some community conversations, maybe made a social media post or two during Black History Month. But let's be honest, symbolic change doesn't erase systemic exclusion. It just puts a bandage on a bruised reputation.